All right, so we've got our handy dandy DLS here, and I want to answer a few questions. I've still got my V1 core in there at the moment, just because I want to answer a few questions on the world of pressure, sound signature, and stuff like that we've all kind of been figuring out as we've seen the new V2 core go in and all the videos that we're seeing and stuff like that. So I've got a few different things with me. V1 core for one. I'll actually, once I shoot the V1 core, get a couple answers on that. I will go ahead and pause, install the new core as effectively as possible. If you don't know how to do that, there's a pinned video in the DLS actual group. I've also got a sound decibel reader here that'll answer the actual softness of the shot kind of coming into play, or at least the sound signature of it. So right here I've got my pressure reader. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but we're sitting at about 125 psi inside the gun currently. This is fresh off of a tech from Dye, so I will say that even on my V1 core, I haven't had a chance to shoot it since the last time I actually played with it and got it back from Dye. So that's one thing. Two, we're going to go ahead and throw a couple ropes through here. Hopefully my gate doesn't get stuck in between now and then. I've got the decibel reader out, so it doesn't actually hold a it doesn't really hold the actual thing. I can get it to do that at its max, but it kind of gives us a little bit of inconsistencies. So right now, as I'm kind of talking, we're bouncing somewhere in between about 50 to about 78 decibels, right? Drop it on max real quick. So max dB right now, we're currently floating at 73. So that's just talking. So we'll go ahead and throw a shot over the top. So one shot in, 86.3. I'm now going to move it back to the back of the gun. I'm going to clear this really quickly because we never really got above that on that 86. So I am also going to throw it back out in front just to see if we get a slightly, yeah, so 82.8 there. Clear it. I'm going to drop it back to the back of the gun. Max there came out at 85.4, right? So behind the gun it's a little bit louder. So throw a quick rope. Right, just to give us a little bit of an understanding of what we're working with. For those of you guys that have questions about microphone setup, I've actually got a Deity V3 mic with a windsock on there. It is the pro version of the mic, so that'll give us kind of a baseline understanding of what we're doing with the actual microphone if you guys have questions. So I'm going to install the new bolt and we'll get to answering that. All right, so I have the V2 bolt installed, right? V2. I am thankful enough to be one of the few people that do not need shims in any way, shape, or form, so that could explain quite a bit with how my gun handled with the V1 core. So thankful that I didn't need any shims there. I tried I think it's a 4 and a 6. Originally I was able to get the gun to seat with a 4. However, after that I tried to shoot, right, because I had seen a couple of the videos where you guys posted, right, you shoot and the bolt shoots out the back of the gun. So I tried that just to double check and see, and it actually did come out of the back of the gun. So we are a single, no shim whatsoever mark there. We're going to air up, we're going to get some paint in it. What I do want to look at before we start shooting is actually the pressure. I want to see if pressure changed at all, right? Because Billy had mentioned that there was some opportunity for the world of pressure operating to change just a little bit. So I want to see if there's anything that I don't normally see. Let's see if I can get into my settings menu. It didn't want to at first. Let's see. Pressure, 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 pressure. There it is, PSI. So we're almost exactly the same. It's actually now at 124. Let me see if I can get that to show. Yeah, 124. So a single pound of pressure drop in between the two bolts. Put some air. Well, we've already got the air in it. Let's put some paint through it. We're gonna test it with the decibel reader. The shots that I did without eyes, right? So I didn't have any paint in the gun. I wanted to check and see if the gun itself would actually sound any different without paint in it for any reason. It didn't sound terrible, right? But I want to see in comparison by what the actual technology says. So similar enough, we're going to go to max right off the rip, kind of just get an idea. Might help if we turn the hopper on. There we go. So same as before, 86.2 off the first shot. Let's clear that and see if the second shot is any lower. 83.5, 83.7, 85. Let's kind of see where we're at each shot. Yeah, so the fast is picking up fairly well. 84. So it's about the same. Realistically, there's not much of a difference in the sound at all. But the good news, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put mine on the line so you don't have to. So I actually have 3 bags of paint sitting here, or actually 4 bags of paint really, and we have a just over 3,500 fill at this point. So we're going to torture test and see if that back gate seizes up on us, right? Or some of you guys have experienced exploding ASA. We're going to try that too. We'll find out what happens. So let's get it going. This up. Now the paint that we're shooting right here is Valken Infinity. I've had this stuff probably for about a year. I don't know if it's been, I know it hasn't been rotated. I don't know how good it actually is. I mean, it's breaking on a tree. So what I'm mildly concerned of is I'm starting to hear some metal on metal in there. I'm going to degas for a small second. Turn the hopper off. Oh boy, I don't like that. That's a full rotation there. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to keep going, but that bolt did not stay tight. So we may need to put another, may need to force a shim in there somehow and get it real tight. Let's find out. That's 2 hoppers, so about 500 shots. A little nervous. Metal on metal. All right. We're going to check again if still loosening up, which it looks like we are. I'm gonna force a shim on here real quick. I'm gonna do it live. We'll see what happens. All right. We got one of the thin shims, putting that on there. We're gonna tighten this up, and I'm gonna put some serious force down on it. I'm gonna have to take my ring off real quick to make sure that this doesn't get scarred up. Put some serious tension on there and force that down. See if we can actually get this to stay in with a shim, because before it shot off with the shim. So we're gonna find out if it shoots out again, and if not, we might be in some trouble, boys. So we have the shim going back in. Gas that up. That back on. Well, all right, so torture test continues. So what ended up happening, that real thin shim, I think it's a 0.4, ended up not fitting correctly. As you guys saw, it bounced out of the gun at me. So I had to take that off. However, I had put it on with some serious force, and to get it out, I actually had to scar up my bolt a little bit with some channel locks. Shit happens. So we're going to continue the torture test. I reapplied the channel locks to see if I can get the actual back piece to stay in place, right? So we're going to continue the torture test, but I will say I am not hopeful. Just to be aware, we are back down to no shims, right? So we're back down to no shims. Stay on. Not hearing any metal on metal this time around, right? Which before we didn't actually make it through. Before we didn't make it through a hopper before I started hearing it, so that's good, right? Let's see if we can make it through 2, because 2 is when we heard it the first time. But after we had updated, so no metal on metal yet. So as for the shot quality, it's definitely, I mean, it's still very similar to what it was. I can definitely say that the actual like movement of the gun is still very similar to what you're seeing. It's probably a bit softer though, right? So. I just want to check for my own safety. It's not good, boys and girls. It's no good. It's no good. has some serious play. So we're coming about a full half turn off the bolt on there, which is not good, right? So clearly there is some tolerance issues within my bolt of some variety, right? Probably within the body, that just are not equated for within the shim, right? I'm gonna really tighten this up. I'm probably gonna be blue Loctiting the bolt together, not in here, because the only area where I'm getting separation is right in here, right? It's that back between the actual button mechanics and all that. So that's the only place I'm getting separation, whereas before I was getting separation in the front can and the back can. So that's good news. So we've made it through about 1,000 shots there. We're going to switch into a little bit different paint. Let's go ahead and bust into our Pro Char. I think this is like the mid-level Pro Char, if I'm not mistaken. Got a few shots left of this Valken junk in here, but we'll see how it handles the Pro Char. Had a break in there. Don't think it was in the barrel though. I think it broke out of the gun. Oh, that was a barrel break, so that was a chop. Gonna shoot through it. Now I will say, this paint has been sitting in my garage, which in Georgia we've gone from like 32-degree mornings to like this morning was 60. So it has been a little bit temperature shocked, right? But I've never had a chop on mid-grade paint before, so. Four chops so far on the Pro Char. For fairness on the Defy, I'm going to go grab a squeegee real quick. So be right back. All right, so I went and grabbed a squeegee before I've cleaned anything. I wanted to actually check my breech. My breech is actually clean, so it's all barrel breaks. So none of it's actually breaking from a chop in that immediate moment. So there is that. Good news there. So let me clean this barrel real fast and we'll get this Defy running as best we can. Yes, I am one of the absolute heathens that goes squeegee side first, because then I run through with a secondary polishing squeegee. So yeah, shame me in the comments, I'm alright with it. Take as much debris out the first time. Those little plunger things work half the time. They're alright. Especially mine are like 6 years old. So Oh wait, we still have some of this Prochar left. Let's get rid of this real fast. We dropped 2 balls out of this whole setup of paint. There's a fucking barrel break right off the bat. Alright, so out of 500 on the Prochar, we had like 6 barrel breaks. And double check the bolts again just to make 100% sure it's just the actual. Yeah, that's clean. So everything's in the barrel.
Polishing squidge.
Alright, time for the Defy. I am not sure which level of Defy this is. To be honest, again, this also has been in my garage through the same cycling, so if the Defy doesn't have the same issues of barrel breaking, it's literally just the Prochar then. And Prochar shit, you shouldn't shoot it. I'm kidding. Prochar's probably great. It's actually been the paint we've used at the past couple tournaments, and it's actually been pretty solid. Yeah, this doesn't say what level it is, but I think this was tournament grade. So, how's our air looking? So we're officially sitting in the 0 on the gauge at this point, so we may not make it entirely through this. I blame that entirely on the blowout from when the bolt shot out. Started hissing at us. So if we don't make it entirely through this, it's not the gun's fault. Well, it is the gun's fault, but it's that moment specifically. About to stop breaking paint. Yeah, it's not even reaching now. Alright, so with the bolt incident of shooting out of us, wasting a bunch of air, still 1,614 shots. So, I mean, imagine if we started 3,500 PSI, didn't have that, we'd probably get somewhere around probably 1,750 or something like that. Probably would have added another 135 shots on there. But the real question is, all right, the good news is it looks like I've tightened the bolt down enough to where the bolt is staying in place because we have no movement now. So I'll try to go get more paint, more air, give it another fair assessment on a torture test. 1,600 shots, I had issues. I don't know whether they're fully just bolt related. It's partially the paint. My main thing was just to test and see if we were still getting the actual bolt spin, which I still am, right? I'm a little annoyed, if I'm being honest, right? It's tough, you know. I mean, you guys have dealt with it for over a year at this point, right? For you guys who are coming back from Cup. It's tough to say that the bolt is 100% reliable. My DLS may just become a fun gun that sits on a wall, you know. Bring it out every now and again, but I don't know if I'm going to be taking it in any major tournaments at this point. Just because if I've got to tighten my bolt every hopper or two, I can't do it, you know. Maybe they'll make another shim that's like a 0.2 in between whatever, you know, their smallest one is right now, and you know the you know, whatever other body diameter there is, and maybe that'll fix it for me, right? But at the moment it looks like Loctite is going to be my friend, because one shim ain't gonna do it. So peace.